Gentlemen, please welcome the amazing and one and only Will Wire. I brought my notebook out just in case I lost my place. Don't panic. Breathe. Okay. It's a little better. I've got a little bit of stage fright. I get really nervous in front of people a lot. I think I've actually had stage fright all my life. I've suffered with it a long time, and I think when you have stage fright, for someone like me, that it really affects the outcome of everything you do. I mean, it really makes it hard to find your niche in life, So as a kid, you're always going and you're trying out these different things, to see what fits you. But when you have stage fright, it doesn't seem like anything really fits you. So, yeah. Oh, ow.
I like the shirt.
Ow, she likes the shirt.
I love it.
Okay, so, maybe as a kid, yeah, I know, I was an odd little kid, and had some problems, So as parents, good parents, what do they want to do, right? They want to give their kids, they want them to do something that makes them seem normal. What do normal little kids do? Well, we better get this guy into sports. So, as second grader, and I think my very first introduction to sports was in t-ball. Now, I remember in t-ball sitting there, and it's getting closer and closer to my turn, and eventually I am up to bat. And I am looking at that ball on the tee, and I take the bat, and I swing, and I missed. I swung, and I missed again. Well, okay, now the pressure's on, right? And now I'm having a very serious problem with stage fright here because people are wondering what's going to happen. So I just closed my eyes and I dug deep within and I swung and I missed. I struck out in t-ball. The coach told my parents that he didn't have to come back if he doesn't want to. So, okay, t-ball didn't work out for me. Well, by the time third grade rolls around, right, they decide, well, let's get this kid into basketball. Well, I really wasn't good at basketball either. Matter of fact, I didn't really do much in basketball at all. I never handled the ball. I never shot the ball. No one ever passed the ball to me. Nothing really ever happened except this one particular time I had my shining moment. It was the moment where I got a chance to prove that I could do something good in basketball. And we were at this gymnasium, and seemed like then as a kid, a coliseum of just a lot of people, and it was probably at Lewis and Clark or something, but it seemed like a big place. There were a lot of people there, and it was an important game, obviously. And the game's going about halfway through, and as usual, I'm not doing too much. Just running around looking kind of silly. And this thing happens where someone, wow, I'm going to get this all night long, aren't I, about this shirt. I'm going to take it off for you. But I'll save that for later. So the ball, it bounces off the rim, and it flies back, and the ball bounces past me, and I'm the furthest one back, and I turn around, and I'm running, and I'm catching up to the ball. And I'm thinking, I'm getting closer to the ball. I'm thinking, this is my big moment to grab the ball. I mean, and you can hear the song from the theme from Chariots of Fire, right? The dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun. And there I am. I'm running, and the ball is right there. And then it's right there. It's bouncing in front of me. And I'm thinking, when I grab this ball, people are going to clap, and they're going to cheer. And it's going to be so cool. And so there it is. Grab the ball. Dun, 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 dun. Grab the ball. And right just then, someone else from the other team came and took the ball and took it away.
Oh, no.
I didn't have the nerve to grab the ball. I couldn't do it. I couldn't find the strength to grab the ball. After the game, all these people came up to me and said, "Oh, good game. You did a really good job." You know, and he was a young kid. I knew they were all felt sorry for me. I mean, well, what a terrible thing. That was the worst thing to do, is say good job. So you know, that was well, actually, that wasn't my final shining moment of basketball. That year, by the time the end of the season came around, there was one more game, and just the day that I forgot my jersey was the day that they had team photos. I have the photo. There's a little dork who doesn't have the jersey on. Yep, that's me. And the photo exists. So, all right, basketball didn't work out. Well, let's see. The next sports adventure in 4th grade, you know, they put me into soccer. Well, same thing. I didn't do much. You know, I didn't, you know, never really had to handle the ball too much. They had in soccer, they call what you have fullbacks, halfbacks, and forwards. Forwards are the only ones that can score a goal against the other team. The fullback, which I was, is someone who stays in the zone where the goalie is. You know, so very first game, one of the guys comes up from the other team. Apparently, I didn't do much good. He ran right past me, kicked the ball so hard that it knocked the wind out of the goalie, took him out of the game. You know, and that was about the most I did all season long. But apparently the team itself was pretty good. So at the end of the season, they did this thing where they kind of treat the players and sent them on to where you go like this children's camp. It was all like church camp thing out in the mountains. And it was supposed to be a fun thing for the kids, you know, reward for doing so well. And but this trip was a nightmare for me because, one, a lot of these guys were older. I was like this young kid. And you know, a guy having stage fright, I had to take showers in the locker room with older guys. Oh, man. Now, this was a daily torture for me because I didn't know how to contend with this. And not only that, I forgot my towel. So at the end of the shower, I'd have to put on wet clothes because I didn't have any way to dry myself. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of things going wrong here, right? Oh, ow, ow. Like this kid, he says. So, but I do remember one particular day, sitting there, and I'm trying to do my little ways of getting in the shower without really being noticed. And I found this one way is like, if I just take my clothes into the shower stall with me, then I can undress in there and then take a shower where no one has to see me. So I thought I had a pretty good little thing worked out. I go in there, and one day, and I'm like, okay, got the curtain closed, I'm taking my clothes off, and then I'm showering, and then I see that there's a little slit in the curtain, and then there's 2 eyeballs poking in. And then I hear this voice says, "Did you take a shower with your underwear on?" And I look down. I forgot to take my underwear off. Yeah, try to explain that to everyone after the shower experience is done. It was a very long camp experience from thereafter. So that was, you know, oh, and then, so to get back that week, as if that wasn't bad enough, school's the very next week. I was in class, and I had to do the dreaded number 2. And you know, normally I would just sit there and maybe just kind of grease my shorts a little bit. But because my parents were doing laundry, they got tired of me bringing home dirty underwear all the time. And they told me that I actually had to raise my hand and ask to go to the bathroom. So this is one of those times I said, okay, I'm going to do it. It's like, "Teacher, can I go to the bathroom?" And so I go to the bathroom, and I'm looking at the stallways. So there's 3 stalls, right? And there's 1, 2, 3. Which one? Well, I think I'm going to take the one farthest back. I'm going to go to the farthest back there. And then that way, if someone comes in, maybe they won't want to notice. So I go in there, and there's just one problem with this little stall is the lock doesn't work. I thought I could go to the other one, but that's closer to the door. I'm just going to take my chances right here. So I'm right in the middle of the process, and all of a sudden, the entire 3rd grade class comes in for recess. One of the little boys finds me. Well, you know what happens when one little boy finds you, they all find you. Every single boy went and looked and pointed and laughed, which seemed like there were 50 of them. Right, well, I mean, when I got my pants down, you know, I've got one half pinched, you know, it's like... So, hey, does this really help the stage fright issue at all? So that was, that was my soccer experience. You know, so by the time I get a little older, I get into junior high, you know, I kind of forego the sports thing a little bit. I finally got into a sport that I thought I was a little better at, which was vandalizing. Yeah, going over and kicking over mailboxes and ringing people's doorbells and throwing rocks through windows, just all good vandalizing kind of stuff, running from cops. Yeah, I was really getting the hang of this. I thought I was pretty good. Until that came to a screeching halt when, rock on for me. Came to a screeching halt when at one particular place where there was a broken window of which I had thrown a rock through, apparently I dumped my wallet in the front yard. Well, that's a pretty tough one to talk your way out of. Matter of fact, I didn't even try to talk my way out of that one. So I got in a lot of trouble and, I had to do lots of embarrassing community service and people tell me what a bad kid I was. So when I got to high school, it was time to straighten up a little bit and be a good boy. So I was going to get into exercise and get into health and, play it straight. So I decided to try the football thing again. Okay. Well, football season was a little strange. I mean, it was a lot of work. You had to practice a lot. And, basically what happened is I sat on the bench the whole season. So it was really a whole lot of work for nothing. But I do remember something about the first game that we played as freshmen. Our team was beating the other team pretty good, so they let us guys who sat on the bench get in a few minutes and play. Well, it turned out this 5 minutes that I came into play, I actually did pretty darn good. I was 3 plays that I got to play, and I made all of them. And I remember specifically, I was a guy who they call him a cornerback, right? He's the guy who defends the receiver. So, I hope you don't have to answer that. So, as a receiver... do you have to answer that?
No.
Okay. So as a receiver, I see these guys. And he's ready to toss the football. And it's like an option play where he tosses it to and he goes around the side and runs with the ball. And I ran up there knowing that my receiver is going to be left open, and I get his foot, and he gets tackled. And I can hear the coaches on the sideline say, "Oh, it's a good thing that guy tripped. He may have got some yards on that play." It's like, trip, that was my hand. I caught him. Okay. So the very next play, I see they're going to do a passing. So I go and I cover my receiver. The ball comes, and I'm just going to knock the ball out of the air. You know what I hear? "Good job, Felipe." Felipe was my alternate. He was still on the bench. It could be, but anyways, he still got credit for it. The very third play was I see that they're going to run it up the middle. And I run up there and I grab the guy, grab his legs and bring him down. And then some big guy on top of me jumps on top of me, and I hear the coaches say, "Good job, DiVinero! Way to smack him!" And I thought, I just made 3 good plays. I didn't get credit for any of them. And I sat on the bench for the rest of the season. And it turns out, I think the main reason why I had to sit on the bench that whole time was because I just refused to cut my hair. It was like, oh yeah, I had the rock star look. Oh, I had the perfect Bon Jovi do, Oh yeah, I wasn't going to cut those Goldilocks for football. No, sir. I mean, and I couldn't play guitar very well, but man, I had the look. So that's what it boiled down to, which kind of states how sports were dated right about then. We were talking about the time frame, right? Because the idea was that you had to have short hair to play football. I mean, it makes me think about football now. I mean, has anyone seen a football game? And I must admit, I actually feel bad for the quarterbacks now. I mean, I think these guys actually earn their money. I mean, can you imagine? You're a quarterback, right? And you get the balls hiked to you, and the next thing you know, the fucking predator's coming after your ass. And if you can dodge the jaws of predator, you turn around and fucking Conan's gonna fucking slam you to the ground. I mean, that is scary shit right there. Yeah, I mean, so, I wouldn't want to be a quarterback in today's world. No, that's... Yeah. So, see, what was I going on about now? Yeah, something about sports. So, anyways...
I faltered, but I returned. I did.
Tennis, swimming. So, well, anyways, I want to move on to politics here a little bit. Anyone here vote for George Bush?
No.
I have a confession to make. I voted for George Bush. See, senior. I didn't know he had a kid, right? I mean, I was voting for the kind of guy who, goes over to another country, bombs a few civilians, declares victory and moves on. That's the kind of guy I was voting for. Apparently Junior didn't learn much from that. So, another election came around, right? And I think it was Bush versus Frankenstein. I think that's who it was. Yeah. And so, what did I do? I voted for Bush again. Who's that damn kid? I thought he got impeached the first time around. So, yeah, and then, okay. I want to back up here for just a minute. I was just thinking about college a little bit and, how these stage fright problems, start to affect you. And I remember when I got to college, I became a music major, a performance major. So, it kind of makes you wonder why a guy who had such severe stage fright would go into something like that. And the reason was, it was just the path of least resistance. It was the classes that were open. But for stage fright purposes, yeah, it was terrible. I always forgot my songs. I'd make stuff up on stage. I was the guy who couldn't sit still while, you just have to be all nice and poised and everything. And, it just got to a point when I finally quit the music program, I remember the board clapped. That's how happy they were to get rid of me. So, after college, it was basically time to start working. And so I started with the employment agency. That's right. And it did some really good, well-rounded work, cleaning pigeon shit off the ground and scraping parking blocks and cleaning signs, cleaning dirt off signs, all that kind of good stuff. You may be moving some rocks around from here or there. Really good resume type material. And, so I held with that for a little bit. And then, but that kind of led me on to working with the Iron Crew. And the Iron Crew thing didn't work out because it turned out I wasn't a criminal. Kind of a prerequisite there. So after the Iron stint, I took a different route. I actually worked for Chuck E. Cheese. That's right. Yeah, I was the guy who danced around in the mouse outfit. Yeah, and it was working out really good there for a while. But I started having problems with some of the personnel. I wasn't really getting along with that gorilla. Yeah, I think what it really boils down to is he was just jealous of my natural musical talent. Yeah, so anyways, it kind of brings me where I am today. I finally arrived. I am a custodian. That's right. This is kind of a job that's really my style. Because I know which way to push a broom. I can handle that. I can put a garbage bag in a trash can. I mean, this is good stuff. And and if someone comes up to me and says, hey, there's no paper towels in the bathroom, I can say, oh, you can use the bathroom down the hall. So, and hey, or if there's no paper towels there, you can use the blow dryer. That works too. So, but I learned that, when you're talking with people, because I work up at MSU there, and when you talk to people, you really learn a lot about, their political beliefs. And, what they're all about, the young people, So when we're talking about these politics, I have to think of all the various people I talk to. And it brings me back to the next election. Well, not I guess the one that's been, Obama's been voted. This is the second term now, right? Yeah. So what was that one? Oh, that was definitely a defining moment in history. Was that Barack Obama versus John McNoneck? Yeah. So I was telling you about, I messed up a couple times before when I voted for George Bush. So this election, I learned my lesson. Yeah. The last time I voted for a black guy was back in high school. His name was Andre. Andre was homecoming king. And the only real problem with that was my girlfriend was homecoming queen. Yeah, you know the saying. Once homecoming queen, you never go back to losers like me. Yeah, so when it comes to situations, where I might lose my girlfriend, and don't get me wrong, Barack Obama's the type of guy who could steal your wife. So when it comes to that, where I might lose my girlfriend, I just voted the guy most likely to lose. I voted for George W. Bush. And for those of you who didn't vote for Barack Obama, just be thankful it wasn't Tiger Woods. Because Lord knows how he may have defiled the Oval Office by now. As a matter of fact, he's kind of changed the nature of golf for me. You know when you're here down the field and someone's behind you and you hear, "Four," Tiger Woods comes up, it's more like, "Score!" Yeah, a lot of intentions, I think, for golfers is to get a hole in one. Tiger wants to put one in every hole. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, that's mean. That's a mean joke. God, if you strike me down, please make it painless and please strike down Ben Bernanke. Well, while we're on the subject, who thinks Michelle Obama is hot? Oh, right. Right on. Okay. Well, there's another question then. What would be the Hillary Clinton or Michelle? That's kind of, yeah, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have put that visual in your head. But, it's okay. We all know that Hillary is not a she. I mean, old Slick Willie wasn't the only one getting a BJ in the Oval Office, if you know what I'm saying. I guess we're yet to find out on that one. Well, it kind of makes me think. She may have, or someone may have. Maybe there was more than one blue dress. But it kind of makes me wonder, though, do you suppose the Clintons ever went to a swingers party? And I got to thinking, if they did, it was probably only once. And I'm pretty sure Bill walked right out with the same person he showed up with. But, I guess that's okay. They stuck it out. They stuck together, raised a beautiful daughter who I am pretty sure is the real father of Bristol Palin's child. I think Enquirer missed that one. But speaking of Bristol, I can't really talk about her with talking about her mom, Sarah. Now, that stint while Sarah was running with John McNoneck, during that time, I think 90% of all guys, either left or right, had a secret fetish for her. And, and it's pretty amazing how she accomplished this. Because one, she didn't have any pre-celeb status. She wasn't a hip-hop diva. She managed to attract all that sexual attention just by being obnoxious. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, that's good for her. So, and the other thing, she didn't even have to make a sex tape like Tanya Harding or Pamela Anderson. But while she was governor in Alaska, there, I think she kind of got some unfair treatment. I think everyone was kind of hard on her. I mean, so there was one little scandal, while she was governor, and maybe on one of her hunting trips, she shot a moose that she wasn't going to eat. But isn't that what we do? Don't we kill animals for fun? Isn't that how we exercise our patriotic right? Yeah. Us Americans kill animals for fun. But I suppose maybe the rules are different up in Canada.
You're channeling her right now.
was I channeling her? So,
She didn't know her.
yeah. Anyways, I lost my true love back in high school. Yeah. So I've been single for a while, and and when you're single for a while, you hear this a lot. You hear people say, "Well, you just haven't found the right one yet." And I got to tell you something about that. Finding the right girl is a little bit like finding the right $100 bill. Pretty much any one of them would work. Now don't get me wrong. You just can't take every $5 or $10 bill that comes along. I'm not going to work an 8-hour day for a $10 bill. I mean, you got to know what you're waiting for. At least I'm smart enough to know that. But my girlfriend, she used to say the sweetest things to me. Those cute little nothings, those sweet little whispers. I remember one time she told me, she said, "You have a real big heart." Yeah, well, when a girl says it like that, she means it. I mean, that's one you can take to the locker room with you. You can go to the locker room and say, "Oh, yeah, man, high five. I gave her my whole heart, and she said it was big." Oh, yeah. That's something to be proud of right there, a big heart. And apparently that's what I have. I remember this other cute little thing she said once. She said, if size mattered to me, I'd still be dating Sean. Okay, back up. Sean? Fucking Sean. Well, Sean is like my 5th or 6th boyfriend. Well, this is where, as a teenager, this is where you really need to stop asking questions right here. But since you are a teenager and you can't stop, you keep pressing forward. Well, how many boyfriends did you have? Oh, maybe 16 or 17. Of course, that doesn't include that one night at the weekend where I met you at that party. You were so cute. I think 16 or 17. Well, okay. Before I can even process that, I got to step back to, okay, Sean. How long did you date Sean? Here it comes. Oh, maybe 4 or 5 months. 4 or 5 months. Oh, no. And here, you need to stop right here. You need to stop, but you keep going. So, how many times did you, do it with Sean? So, not really any more than once a day. Your head's ringing, right? Okay, once a day for 4 or 5 months. I'm counting. I'm pretty sure that's more than 10. And you gotta keep in mind, I was just trying to crack 0 at that time. I mean, that's a lot of stuff for a young man to process right there. And that, of course, that doesn't really help your stage fright problem. That kind of intimidates you a little bit. So, and, I can't forget that other sweet little thing she said to me. She's like, I can't have sex with you because you bring up feelings in me that kind of make me think of my ex-boyfriend. Doug was her ex-boyfriend. He was the guy before me. That was her true love. And I just eventually had to assume that Andre did not remind her of Doug at all. But, I guess it's these long, cold seasons, kind of make you reminisce on past loves and current loves. And at the cold times, that whole wanting to be cozy and safe, the long, cold winter thing. Who here has ever listened to right-wing radio? Ever hearing that stuff? Yeah, I listen to these guys, and these guys, they have a tendency to be really annoying. And you know why? It's because they're right about everything. And, and that troubles me a little bit. How could, whatever these guys say, they're right. I mean, take, for example, liberals are destroying America. Duh, look around. I mean, my gosh, look what they've done in the White House. I mean, man, you got people spying on you now and everything. It's because these liberals, they are all about these big social giveaway programs, spending big government money. And that's the whole reason why they're spying. They just want to make darn sure that no one missed a welfare check. Yeah, so you can blame the liberals, Or about the other argument of these guys, they say, homosexuals are all going to hell. Well, that's got to be true because that means I have a 50% chance of going to the right place. And then the other thing about the global warming issue, it seems like ever since they declared global warming was a hoax, the winters have been pretty long and cold here in Montana. It could be just me, but that's my feeling. So I thought, okay, these guys are obviously right about everything. And I started thinking about it. Well, why? Why are they right? Why do they have God on their side? I start thinking about, I bet it really boils down to the 10 Commandments. It's an interpretation of the 10 Commandments. It probably goes something like this. Thou shalt lie, steal, kill, commit adultery, worship false idols, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that was a little mean. Dear God, if you strike me down, once again, please make it painless, and please strike down Bill Gates. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not the type of person who really cares what your political beliefs are. I mean, we do live in a country where everyone is entitled to their own opinions, except for Dick Cheney and my ex-girlfriend. A not-so-good a friend of mine once told me, he said, hey, man, you carry a pretty big chip on your shoulder. And I think the reason is because you haven't gotten any action since high school. And I thought, I got to think about this for a minute because he's probably right. And what would it matter? I'd probably just get stage fright. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You've been a wonderful audience.
Not bad, huh?